All right, let's talk about something that you'd think would be super simple. Getting from Orange to the Anaheim Convention Center. I mean, it's right there. But if you've ever been on the day of a huge event, you know that short trip can turn into an absolute logistical nightmare. So today, we're going to break down exactly why that happens and, more importantly, how you can solve it.
You know the feeling, right? You pull up the map on your phone, you see the route. Oh, 10 minutes, easy. But here's the thing, and anyone who's done this will tell you, on convention day, all the normal rules of time and traffic, they just go right out the window. Okay, so let's get into it. The convention commute problem. What is it that turns this super short drive into such a massive headache? Let's dive in.
So, here's the deal. On any other day, it's a piece of cake. But during a big convention, all that convenience just evaporates. It's gone. And suddenly, you're not just driving from point A to point B anymore. Nope, you're gambling. You're gambling with your time, with your comfort, and honestly, with your professional credibility.
And you gotta understand, this isn't just a trip. The stakes are really high. I mean, think about it. Getting there on time, that's non-negotiable, right? You've got meetings to get to. Controlling your stress is absolutely essential if you want to be focused. And if you're with a group, coordinating everyone is key. It's not just about getting through the door. It's about arriving ready to perform.
All right, next up, the anatomy of event day chaos. Let's really dissect what's going on here. What are the specific ingredients that cook up this perfect storm of logistical nightmares?
First up, let's talk about the most obvious villain of the story, the parking structures. They get packed, and I mean packed, ridiculously early. So you end up in this long, slow crawl of cars, just circling and circling, hunting for that one elusive spot. That right there, that can easily eat up half an hour you absolutely do not have.
Okay, so you think, I'll just get a ride share. Well, then you run into the next problem, those confusing pickup zones. It is pure chaos. You've got crowded curbs, a sea of identical-looking cars, and a driver who has no idea where you are. It's just a total recipe for confusion right when you need things to be at their simplest.
And then there's the knockout punch, the thing that can just derail your whole morning, the last-minute cancellation. You've done everything right, you've timed it perfectly, you're watching that little car on the app get closer and closer, it's a minute away, and then, poof, gone. Your driver canceled. And just like that, you're back at square one, and that clock is ticking louder than ever.
But look, it's not all doom and gloom. Now that we've really laid out the problem, let's talk about the solution. There is a way, a strategic way, to bypass all this chaos entirely.
And here's the key thing to understand. When we talk about professional transportation, we're not just talking about a fancier car. It's not about that. It's about having a plan. It's a strategy. It's about having consistent, reliable arrival times and clean, simple logistics, no matter how crazy things get outside.
And what does a strong plan look like? Well, it's all in the details, right? Your pickups are scheduled down to the minute. The instructions for where to meet are crystal clear. The vehicle you get is actually big enough for your whole team and all your stuff. Every single part of it is designed for one thing, and one thing only, predictability.
So you might be thinking, okay, but who really needs this? Well, let's take a look at who this is for. For some groups, having a dedicated ride plan is an absolute game changer.
And it's actually a pretty diverse crowd. You've got your corporate teams making up about 35%. Exhibitors and their staff are right behind them at 30%. And that makes total sense, right? The stakes are highest for them. But what's interesting is that you also have a big chunk of regular conference attendees and even groups of fans or family choosing to do this just because they want to get rid of the stress.
So let's zero in on corporate teams and executives for a second. For these folks, the ride to the convention center, that's not just a commute. It is directly tied to their performance and their professional image for the day.
I mean, it really comes down to this. When you arrive calm and prepared, you are ready to perform. Your ride experience is part of your brand. If you show up late, totally flustered, you can kill the momentum of a huge meeting before you even walk in the door. So in a very real way, that commute becomes an extension of your professional brand.
Now, what about the exhibitors and their booth staff? They're dealing with a whole other level of complexity. We're not just talking about moving people around. We're talking about valuable gear, products, entire displays.
And this is just so crucial. A planned ride reduces the chaos of juggling multiple vehicles and helps keep your team focused on the booth, not on logistics. They need to be thinking about setting up that booth, talking to clients, not trying to coordinate 3 different ride shares or wondering if their big banners are even going to fit in the trunk. A single, planned vehicle just solves that entire puzzle.
Okay, so this brings us to the final section, making the smart choice. It really all boils down to a decision. So let's put the 2 main options side by side and make this choice crystal clear.
And wow, when you lay it out like this, the difference is pretty stark, isn't it? With a rideshare, you're looking at surge pricing, your rate could be anything. With a professional plan, it's a fixed, agreed-upon rate. Availability? With a rideshare, you're just hoping a driver is nearby. With a plan, you're pre-booked and confirmed. It really is the difference between rolling the dice and having a solid, dependable schedule.
So, if you're thinking, okay, I want to do this, how do you book the right plan? Well, it's actually really easy. Just follow these 5 steps. First, list your key event times. When do you absolutely have to be there? Second, get a passenger count for each trip. Third, think about your gear. How much space do you need? Fourth, know your exact pickup location in orange. And finally, plan your return time. That's it. This simple little checklist turns transportation from a major source of stress into a problem that's already solved.
So let's leave it with this thought. Your next big event is on the calendar, and the question you have to ask yourself is simple. Is your ride going to be a gamble, or is it going to be a schedule? Are you going to leave your arrival up to chance, or are you going to guarantee yourself a smooth, professional start to the day? Really, the choice is yours.